Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective. We began our day with a short. So if you didn't tune into it, it's a 1 minute short. Go ahead so you can get the gist of it because I got sidetracked. So I'm going to come in differently than what I was going to do when we first started today. And that's not a good or bad thing. It's actually an interesting thing. Why? Well, the regular listeners know why, but if you're new, if you like to be you, great. You should know sciences, spirituality, they come together. So with Robert Sapolsky, we have a life without free will. Apparently, he says it's a science of life without free will. Now, I beg to differ because, empowering people with information that is good information, even if they have not at all to believe. The first 2 years of life. So whenever somebody doesn't believe in childhood trauma, nervous system stuff, or they then take it to the other extent and exaggerate and like, so what? Everything causes trauma, and so what? Is my nervous system gonna get destroyed? It's like, wow, okay, we really want to empower people with information. So luckily, the younger generation have smart human beings because they have to be updated, whether they like it or not. I've had doctors complaining about their educational information. I'm like, you're a doctor, aren't you happy? I know that I don't like the fact that you don't like to be updated educationally, and I'm hoping to change you. I won't tell that to you because my mother taught me how to be nice. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything. And also, Stephen Porges taught me about biologically rude people. Terry Real about adaptive child parts in any human being who's like, I know everything and you don't. You're confusing science and spirituality. So anytime I meet ego, here's a feminine for you. Why? Well, because feminine, we don't do thoughts. We do feelings first and then thoughts, which is why when someone says, oh, so you're stupid. Sure I am. You just don't know that you rule with emotions too. But hey, I'm not going to be the 4'9", very small human being who can stand no chance in the face of a punch. So as a teenager, I didn't really give a shit. But as I got older, I got busy with life. And now that I'm a woman who's a lot older, and all my men friends have told me I'm an object. So basically, to expect, in fact, one man gets on screen and informs me why I don't get a text back by a man after a minute of hearing him. I just hope that they all find good therapists. I'm going to leave it to the side because that way my regular listeners don't have to hear the same shit over and over again. It's shit. So in the meantime, the 5D Collective, we are people who love the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating life of people and mystics. So I choose that, yes, no one needs fixing, as my lovely lady from my course with Dr. Daniel Siegel. She had dissociative identity disorder. I don't know if she also had disorganized attachment or not, but what I can tell you is within 6-7 years with therapy with Dr. Dan, she got to heal. And her consciousness memory barriers and something like consciousness barriers and memory barriers came down. So great course. I'm education certified. I'm not a therapist. I'm a mentor and a content creator. And right now I'm trying to say I'm a mystic, number one. In fact, Jesus, God, come on over. Akash, come on over. I got a bunch of different ways that I can bring to you. It's all one and the same. And the true spirituality people, we know who we are. Come on over. The 4D, we have a good time. No, we don't. We don't hang out together because they like to call people Lucifer every now and then. So do the 3D whenever they see something. Oh no, Reiki is taken over. We must call it the devil's energy. So we must do the same with yoga. So anytime you meet insecure human beings who don't have blind faith, because if you have blind faith, you know God always wins. You know what I mean? Also not to play God. So they will have they have completely forgotten that number one rule. I told God, I said, hey, they're playing you and they're protecting mean people. Well, they're not mean, but they need help. And they don't want to go to the good therapist who will help them. And then some people, they just want to beat them up and kill them maybe. I don't know. But they want to commit murder, essentially, and then end up in prison. So all the evil scale people, they all need therapy, essentially. And then they follow the ones who say no. Oh, so what? No, no one needs fixing. As I was saying, the DID, lovely, lovely woman, she's healed. And she's a good therapist. And then we have Patrick Jehan, who's a childhood trauma survivor. He's healed, and I always say healing because I don't know his story. Well, with her, I do. And she's writing a book. I can't wait for it to come out. And if one DID person can do it, so can all the others. Oh, and I know some people who do have alters, and they are textbook, like my therapist teachers teach me about anyone who refuses to go and get support because they're afraid to, because there's bad therapists. The ineffective ones that, yes, lock you up in a box. Like this one fancy woman who's like on screen saying, see, the new studies, they show narcissism isn't healable. And I'm like, you obviously don't know Dr. Daniel Fox or Kylie. And I can tell that you are one of those Cuscos because all my colleagues are against me. And there's your teenager, and there's your adaptive child, unbridled self expression. They think they're right, others are wrong. They got a group. Oh, Peter Pan, Lost Boys, they're all following each other. And who's not following them? We are not. Who's we? The empowered people. So, again, no, they don't need fixing. They just chose, committed to their ignorance. It's lack of education of the embodied brain, the nervous system. I'm not lacking education because I love education. I'm too serious. I was too serious at 4. I'm still too serious at 44. Apparently, asking people how they would like to spend their 24 hours is a hard question. And that's going to leave it alone because I got some smart people who said, hey, I'm going to give you some ideas so you can maybe throw in. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but I'll keep it in case I find myself in an awkward situation. So, you choose how to show up in life. Feminine here. We don't get tested. Yeah, no. The only ones who test each other are the same Tom and Jerry Cuscos with low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, and they could use Patrick Tiahan and Terry Real so they could learn what love is all about because they would learn how to love their self first, and then they would know what God gave them. But then again, as Robert Sapolsky points out, a life without free will. He says, your first 3 years, I'm going to say, yes, thanks, Robert, for your... I think it's a qualitative analysis. I haven't read it yet, so I can't be sure. I have a master's degree, so I do know the difference between quantitative and qualitative, and I didn't realize how many people didn't realize that social media is social. And if you want academia, you go to academia. But then again, we got people who think that their own research counts as research, and I'm like, really? So I'm the pseudoscience lady, but then I get to see people call neuroscience ladies and gents pseudoscience. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. But are you with the sciences people who want to disprove reality? Or are you with the spirituality people who want to prove reality? Or are you perhaps with the flat earthers? Or perhaps you're with the people who call every other person Lucifer as long as they don't do exactly fucking business like they do or some shit like, I don't know. I mean, really, they use the guy for everything. Okay, with that being said, again, to live mindfully and or spiritually, it's a choice. You don't have to do anything, but one thing's for sure. All you need is love. Dun, dun, dun. All you need is love. Yes, love, and love is all you need. And to be yourself. So when you don't need to show yourself, I'm dying to meet you, but you get to be yourself, well, there's a feminine for you, and they can be masculines. But they'll tell you about them being masculines, and you'll know which one you are. So the empowered ones of us, again, like this lady, she's writing a book. She says, nobody needs fixing, but to know that their brokenness also is healable. Something like that. I forget the exact wording, but... On that note, while we have the ones who romanticize and demonize everything, we don't do either. We say some people will make it to the therapist, others will choose not to. And not all people need to use their social engagement system. So not all people need to learn how to self-soothe, self-regulate in a social engagement because they don't want to. Some like the Cusco attitude. What can you say? Nothing except for, they don't need us, world, globe, universe, for 5D to be here, FYI. As a mystic, I can let you know it wasn't the twin flame 144,000 that got the matrix to be unraveled. I mean, I know the story is too good. Because again, teenagers, they need to have, I'm this. If they don't have the identity, they're masked, they don't know how to be. Cusco doesn't know how to tell the truth to Pacha because Cusco doesn't own himself. Doesn't own his sense of self, doesn't own his core narrative relational soul. In fact, Cusco's manipulable like the back of his hand. And while Cusco can play tricks on Pacha, who is the winner of it all? Well, it's not about winner, but again, God wins. Life wins. Feminine knows that. Why? Well, anima mundi is why. Anybody know what nature is? Biology. Family is a training ground to rise beyond likes and dislikes. Thank you, Sadhguru. However, if you don't know about your first 3 years of life and your implicit memory and you don't take any of the new information seriously, then you're not going to learn how to enjoy yourself and to disengage from karma, the likes and dislikes, and that would be called in science's terms irrefutable facts. Yeah, so instead of being a 14-month-old or a 3-year-old who thinks that you don't feel feeling strongly, even if you're cut off, but you do feel because your nervous system will be active. That's why a woman gets on screen saying it's dangerous to show no emotion and that the system is trying to imprison you. It's because she is a 3-year-old with a brokenness that feels that she has to be in her threat response. Otherwise, she's unsafe, which makes sense because she is unsafe in her own body and with people. And that's why she wants to keep her survival mode. So scientifically, this is where determined. Thanks, Robert Sapolsky. Signs of life without free will. She is committed to proving her way, and the people who want to stay in their threat system, they're like, yeah, the system's trying to keep you imprisoned, versus knowing, no, you want to project your dysregulated nervous system. Totally okay. I know how to handle a low self-esteem human being. Am I not decent enough to be saluted? Yeah. I laugh about it because the reality as a feminine is only going to be concerned, and my gut is a good gut because I have healthy self-worth as an empowered woman, and I have met enough Cuscos to know the difference, which is very important. I have felt in my years, I don't like to talk about it too much, but when I went dancing with those friends of mine, because I'm not stupid to go by myself anywhere, 4'9" woman again. So I learned because you remember what you perceive. No, not me, not my left mode, my body does. And my gut, if it says it's dangerous, in Italy we have this, it's I'm out of here. I don't tell anybody. Now if somebody that I love is there, then I'm not out of there because I'm going to stay there. But my gut, it goes off in a good way. Now when I've supported people who have bad guts, like Gabor Mate says, those with bad guts though are the ones who don't go and heal their inner child stuff. And anytime I've been disregarded between men and women, well, they get into their little pouty hissy fits, which I ignore as they treat people who love them and give them the support, like my friend, the facade one. Yes, anybody remember that story? As I'm at my grandma's funeral, he writes me and says, "Are you happy now?" And I'm like, about what? She's cheating on me. No, at the time I wasn't polyamory. I didn't even know of it. Otherwise I would have said, you could go polyamory because I'm pretty sure you'd be happy that way. Or at least she might. Or maybe you want to propose it. I don't know. Maybe she'll say no because she doesn't want that. But either way, I didn't do any of that. I said, I didn't know, and I'm not happy. Obviously, if you think I'm happy about your misery, you don't know me, the human being who was your friend at the time, who's right now not on taking bases with you. I wasn't talking to him. 5 years, and when he ended up in the ship, I did do what the friend thing is to do. And he taught me how never to do that again. I learned from my friend. It wasn't that I was wrong. It was that I was oblivious to the fact that he had fear of rejection to the point of acting like an asshole to a person and more. But then again, here's where you learn from what I learned from being a feminine, and then I learned from attachment trauma, and I can repeat this lovely situation in better ways for you all to understand. It didn't change me. I love more than I ever did before. It helped me to not do it ever again. So when I got treated by other Cuscos like piece of shit, really, no. I understood that my friend feared rejection. That's why he was an asshole. So you're not actually an asshole anymore. Now you're just a little mask who's afraid. And in fact, at a 44-year-old of age, I'm not decent enough. I just perceive the poor 3-year-old who's manipulating desperately, but it's not manipulation. When I hear that word, I think, if I got at least somebody who's doing something a bit on purpose with intellect, okay, I might have a challenge at a certain point. Maybe, depends, because I'm really slow. I don't get jokes. I'm very literal. And I'm not going to waste my time to try and figure out if you're trying to do something. Also, you can't break a heart. It's a muscle. And, I was a kid. Again, what was it? Family is a training ground to rise above, beyond likes and dislikes. I got a twin. I got into Dharma a long time ago. Thanks, twin. So with that, also this. Thank you, Sadhguru again. Where are you? No, not that one. In English, please. Wait, I have him in Italian and in English. It was really good, his quotes. Joy, yes. It is not an achievement. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, it should be the natural ambience of your life. I love his quotes. Now, it will be a natural ambience if you get into an earned, secure attachment, 1-year-old. And that's what this feminine is, which is why we're going to conclude with our lovely cards of the day, because they came out really clear and near and dear to my heart. So no one needs fixing. Nope, you get to choose how to show up. In fact, in life, in love, in all of it. And a true lover knows that love is easy, not hard. True lover is an empowered woman, man, or they. No low self-esteem. You own your sense of self. So you can access that if you understand owning your child parts and then becoming what is a pacha, not a Cusco. So again, not everybody wants to show up that way. In fact, my facade friend is still facade. And he helped me to learn how to handle every other facade on the face of this planet, which is where, how to be you, how to show up. Well, how to live life. It's a choice. You get to choose. I'm going to get to share with you. It's easy to be myself because I got a twin. I got a mom, I got a body, I know self-regulation, attunement. Oh, and then I met Jesus, and I knew God already, and I like love. Why would I not feel love? I love love. It's the oxytocin gene hormone, and I get to talk about it again. So make sure to know your chance to leave a legacy behind. Let me think. There are a lot of people who like to leave suffering behind because they think humanity is suffering. They're not the feminines. not the empowered ones. In fact, they are the distorted ones who capture the masculines who, well, let's just put it this way. When people said, you let your teenage boyfriend get away, I said, he wasn't my dog and he's not my dog. I don't keep him on a leash. And if I need to keep someone on a leash, I think that means you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. And really, I know where I'm going. So I'm not needing a slow person to slow me down who doesn't have empowered ego, self, and knowing how the hunter works. So I love animals to the death of me, but the hunter, the good hunter, like the good human, meaning a person that is able to unconsciously love. No, not the ones who think that they're shaming, blaming, fault. No, theirs is from the ancient times, which is exactly why feminine doesn't reveal any of her secrets. If you know Pacha doesn't say shit, guess what the fancy lady in a suit thinks? Danger to show no emotion. People like me laugh about that because that's not dangerous. You don't understand what's going on. You're blocked off from your right mode. I'm not. And I know what's going on in your body, which is why you represent no threat. Because I wouldn't piss you off to that extent. Plus, you're a woman, so you're not actually a threat to me. Only men, because I'm physically small and weak, and I am. And I remember one of my friends like, you don't know that. I'm like, okay, did you see me? I am weak. I'm not going to try it out. Thank you so much. And I was a teenager like anybody else. So we all meet assholes, don't we? Like actual, they're not actual assholes. Thanks, Robert. They need therapy. As Stephen Porges would say, nobody chooses their biological rudeness. And I say no human being chose to have generational or transgenerational trauma that they want to perpetuate. That's a different story. As a feminine, I know all about the scary masculine, which is why they are not the safe space, because masculines are not safe unless they're feminine. And then even when they're feminine, you gotta wait and watch how they become, because they still want to use their thoughts, and that sharp blade is really boring. I like the ones who have, I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh. That's the soft, the tone. The tone is important. Or when I'm feeling blue, all I want to do is take a look at you. So anytime you present to me something sharp, cold, and icy, I think of Ice Age. No, I think of show yourself, and I'm not into that. Yeah, I don't want a pretender. Pretenders, they don't know how to use their social engagement system, so they're not going to be fun to be around. Before the dawn of agriculture, we hunted in the forests to feed our kin. The hunter never takes more than what the village needs to survive, often taking only one creature, the good kill. He is a master tracker who knows which path to follow to find success. Rely on your own skills to traverse the thick forest you are in to reach your destination. Yes, that's only if you have a good gut. So it's only once you're an unconsciously loving person with yourself, with your flaws, and then you will know how to use a gut. Otherwise, you're going to keep picking like those men that I gave good advice, including my facade friend. He wasn't the only one who did shit like this. Again, women, same thing goes. But the women, when they present to you what's taken place, now we got a squirrel. And it's kind of like, why are you picking their side? You're not supposed to be on their side. I'm not picking sides. You're just making it seem like there's only one side and there's two sides. And women who will have also made me think that they have no interest in men whatsoever. And I go to turn around. These are women who use my time. Social gatherings, I go to turn back around, they're all over the men, and I'm like, wait a minute, they just made it out to be that that person was all over them, but they're not all over them. They're the ones who headed down that way, put themselves in their lap. Like, I've seen this more than once. I don't want to. So that's where, though, those masculines, again, hey, they were. So it's not about men and women. It's actually an energetic imprint. But if I need to use the gender stereotypes, I don't want to. But then again, I know what to not look for at all in men or women, and to leave it alone, because they have Pinocchio's island and they're having a good time, and they're not going to break anything, because the earth isn't breakable by humans, nor is expansion of consciousness and human evolution. So again, Robert Sapolsky, God, you name it, they all say the same thing. Life always wins. That's what a feminine knows, which is why it's only the ones who don't have their feminine online, because they don't respect each other's differences, that they won't know the truth. Because when you're assuming to know shit, you don't know shit. Like my facade friend. Remember, I told you all, he taught me really great things. How not to take my word and be quiet when people don't know how to be, taking. Well, what it is depth of emotional stuff. I'm just going to leave it big like that. And then it was also this thing where I actually poured out like a bunch of important information from my heart and soul with him, and 2 or 3 years later down the line, it's as if I never spoke. And that was really like, what the fuck? So when it did eventually come about, again, at that point, I'm not surprised. Once you acknowledge that one human being you love to death can completely not hear shit from what you spoke, because you'll know. Because when someone's assuming, they don't remember what you told them. They remember what they were thinking. So they're the idiots again. It's really fascinating when you have a lack of mindfully aware, accountable, but they don't care to learn about you anyway. So either or, again, we don't impose on any. You don't need to be fixed. You have a conscious choice, which is to be that, which is the stereotypes of all other people. So anyways, here's where this hunter, I like this one. This one is a chariot. Moving forward when you own, which is what a feminine owns. So as a person with blind faith, as a mystic, as someone who is connected, I can tell you every day grows fonder and more fun. Anima Mundi. So this one I loved because I actually think, what's today? Today's maybe Friday, we'll see. But there's something more to this card for us, for my 5D collective community. The ones of you who come for channeled guidance messages. Okay, and it's always food for thought or entertainment, please. Okay, this is not the mentorship. No, it's once the tears. That's when we're gonna have practices. If you want, there's universal love transmission sessions for personal development, and then there's one-to-one mentorship, masterclass. Sign up. But here we're just having a good time right now while I share on screen stuff. The seeker, the pursuer, the predator, the hunter hunts. They are on a precise mission with an aim. To return home empty-handed would be to fail, which is not an option in the hunter's eye. This archetype will journey far and wide, seeking the prize that calls to its heart or stomach. Tales of bravery and feats of strength often result, creating a life full of adventure. The hunter is skillful, quick, decisive, and results-oriented. Like the great hunting goddess Artemis, who carries her quiver upon her back. The hunter typically has a weapon of choice. When this card appears, it is critical that you ask 3 questions. What am I hunting? Why am I hunting it? Is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? When light, focused, energized, respectful, seasoned. When dark, irresponsible, violates, violent, preaching. That's what you can consider the masculines that don't own their feminine and the distorted feminines. And that's because they don't know how to be focused, energized, respectful, and then seasoned. So being able to consistently change is thanks to an integrated brain, not the non-integrated brains. You have integration of brain when you own your sense of self and your core narrative relational soul self. So it means you know how to be in the presence of somebody who's being a dick, and you're not going to be a dick alongside them. In fact, not even close. You're going to be a person who seems to them to have no emotions. And that's why that fancy lady, again, it's not the system that's trying to imprison anyone. It's that she doesn't know how to regulate her 3-year-old or 1-year-old, or her nervous system is what I should say. And she doesn't want to, which she doesn't have to. So again, here it is. Study the Greek goddess Artemis. Notice her nuanced relationship to the moon, the earth, and the feminine. The predator honors its prey with a precise and skillful hunt. The hunter deeply reveres the life it aims to take. And when you activate the hunter archetype, you are aligning your energy with the great creatures of the world. The lion, the wolf, the tiger, the shark. Do so with care. Please also remember that, which is Anima Mundi. So when you have the 5D mystic here in the forefront, I have a lovely experience with that, which is Akash, God. Again, so much to share as we move forward with great honor. Anima Mundi epitomizes the principle, accept all, reject none. Simply put, it is the living soul of the world in all its multifaceted, multidimensional layers bonded together by loving cosmic forces. Diversity is celebrated, multiplicity is honored, and nothing is denied embrace. And constructs of separation dissipate into the wonderful mess of shared consciousness. Anima Mundi is the link between the literal and the imaginal, the rational and the mythic. So empowered people, we know that people get to choose what they want to leave behind. And today in our lovely 2024 era, we have good therapists for anybody who wants to go and learn self-attuning, self-regulating, getting their whole free-willed heart. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. But the likes and dislikes, whether you call it karma, whether you call it the irrefutable facts of a 14-month-old, either or, a dharma person, a feminine, knows how the gut works. And then she knows how the thoughts work. And because a feminine is soft at heart and soft of mind, she won't be trying to make herself heard because, we don't want to waste breath with those who will not tap into the infinite potential that masculines can tap into. Oh, we don't capture you. That would make you into a person, meaning an individual who's manipulable and basically your flag with no flag post. We're going to leave that you may actually make your conscious, it's called free will. God gave it to every person. Again, if you want to use God, otherwise you don't have to. You could just say free will. Robert Sapolsky says you have none. I think you do, because we're in a time where there is free will. And what other people say about us doesn't matter. It's us who won't have shame, because that's what happens when you're a whole 1 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old, all of it, and you're like, I'm different. I'm not ashamed of Maria. You don't like my tail, Eric? You can leave. The Little Mermaid, yeah, I wouldn't have given up my voice. Are you kidding? Actually. So, hard to commit. This rabbi talks about masculines as men. I'm just going to say it's not only men. I've met masculines that are women. And it's true. They are like the gender stereotypes of men, though, unfortunately. Women, the distorted ones, they're the squirrels from Cusco land. And there's men that are distorted like the squirrels from Cusco land, too. So, feminine, masculine energy, when they're empowered, they're a perfect mwah. When they're not, that's a whole different story. But what I can tell you as a feminine, yes, they don't ever get into their infinite potential of life. Nothing comes from any of the masculines that are also involving distorted feminines, because they're being captured, contained, given limitations, and nurtured by ancient silverback people. One allows them to stay in their threat response, but also when they don't realize that they could own their child parts, they just don't become the embodiment of their true self, because they don't unpause their 16-year-old from, excuse me, confused in science and spirituality. I mean, I have fun with it, because ignorant people, emotionally, mentally, physically intelligent people will navigate to HP, because I don't do lack of intelligence. I'm serious again, with fun though. The playfulness of Krishna Lila, because I'm a child, eternal child. I'm not doing linear. No, I'm doing roundabouts, and I love it. Oh yes, also the feminine, and she is a nurturer. She incorporates it all, and then she makes with it, and we don't need to worry about anybody hopping over the fence, because that's okay. Also, the ones who are they get this imbalance. Yeah, nature takes care of itself. There's no reason. In fact, this is the funny part. When I think of people who disregard getting to use their social engagement system in this lifetime, with all the sciences that are out there, well, again, we got plenty of flat earthers, but the good guts are the ones of us who are, I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh, and he loves to live, and he loves to learn, and he loves to expand and not cast stones. So 5D mystics and people, we're mindfully living and loving and spiritually. And I love the Enlightenment Soul Age group. It's really fun. Not all people are here, but, it's not a race. You choose what you want. And we will be back with more. We choose love and to heal trauma seriously. So we're functional adults, we're serious, and we help the ones who also want to be serious and have a good time. Because, what is an honor is to see not only the 5D collective who are already their whole child, but the ones who claim their child and then bring forth the beauty that God gave them in the first place. Or, Robert, really, he says, we don't have free will, but his explanation tells you that you can get a hold of your 3-year-old and choose a different path than whatever it is that began your journey. So the reality is you still have choices. What you choose, well, I've seen people make up bullshit in their mouth, like my facade friend, in the moments, and not just them. That's why, again, a feminine, we don't bother to tell you what you're doing, because it's your path, right or wrong, not mine. I'm not here to affect your state of consciousness. That would make me a capturer, which I'm not. You have free will to become that which you want to leave behind in this world. And some people want to leave behind their threat response not social engagement system, excuse me. Others, on the other hand, will leave the earth in a lot better of a way out, and it is headed towards social engagement, because the smart people always win. That's where life goes. It doesn't go backwards. No, some people don't believe in that. But then again, I did recognize a long time ago that 3D and 4D's truths would come true, because get what truth is. It's subjective experience, subjective reality. Really a lot of things. And when I look for truths in the way if people want facts, that's data. I'm going to look for the quantitative data somewhere, but that's a very small number of things. I care about air, water, and food with that data, and not to try and disprove the earth or so we'll be back again with more. In the meantime, thank you so much. If you do like personal development, being yourself, self-help, stuff like that, mystic life right here, come on over. Mindful life, living practices, mindset, being rosy cheeky all the time, not just sometimes. Of course, we have good cries. It's not something amazing, but we learn how to be in our social engagement system. That's why it's not laundry, and we're in our prefrontal, which is why it's a good feeling. I feel good. No. I knew that I would, which is why, FYI, yeah, there's no masculine that will ever in a million years And I come from many lifetimes ago. Yes. Yeah. Again, Fancy Woman is a perfect example of somebody who thinks she knows what she's talking about, which makes my smirky smile smirk, because one thing a feminine will know is just how dangerous any person who doesn't have a nervous system that works well is. And I'm saying physically. Luckily, we're in the year 2024, so we don't have to be concerned too much with a certain amount of things. I'm talking my mystic people. Yeah, but what we do know is how to definitely, in the absence of being a please appeaser, attach, cry, collapse, submit, fight, flight, freeze, flop, drop. So those are picked up by me and anybody who's a somatic empath. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking the lady, dangerous to show no emotion. She actively believes from her embodied experience, because she doesn't know how to pick up another body. So when she's picking up something that is called social engagement, that's something. Anyways, long story short, my feminines and the empowered masculines who are now their own feminines know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is, only if you have access to two sides of your brain are you going to be able to be emotionally, mentally, and physically intelligent and in the presence of you. And then being able to be in the presence of somebody without impacting that means that you have a left mode that's off, a right mode that's on, and a heart that is open, and I'm engaging with you as I'm present in the absence of feeling that I'm physically threatened independently from your mannerisms, which is why I'm non-reactive, which is why she doesn't know what non-reactive is, which is why, again, feminine is on purpose going to try and mask. No, we don't try it on purpose. We just learn how to trust our gut because we're part of nature. We don't separate from it. In fact, actually, we become and stay a part of it. Yeah, that's a fun fact. It's a fun story, actually. Excuse me, not a fun fact. So, again, random food for thought. We'll be back with more. In the meantime, thanks for tuning in.